A series of seemingly routine babysitting jobs dramatically shift into chilling ordeals. I wasn't even by the time I was 18, babysitting had become a part of my routine. Though I never advertised myself, when I was 19, I received an unexpected babysitting request from my mom's friend Dana. She needed someone to watch her cousin's 2 children, Elijah, 5, and Sophie, 3. While she and her partner went out for dinner and drinks in Pine Hill, a quiet neighborhood about 20 minutes away. The gig was supposed to be easy, just a few hours in the evening. I arrived at the Dwyer's 2-story home just before 5:30 p.m. Rachel, the mom, greeted me with a tired smile and Sophie clutching her leg tightly. Elijah was already on the living room floor playing with toy cars. Their parents looked worn out from a long week, but reassured me they'd be back by 10 or 10:30. They left with gentle goodbyes, and the door clicked shut behind them. The night went smoothly at first. We had chicken nuggets and apple slices for dinner, Sophie engrossed in Bluey, while Elijah peppered me with questions about tattoos and sword fighting. By 8 o'clock, I started the bedtime routine. Sophie was more than ready for bed, yawning and dragging her blanket behind her, while Elijah still had bouts of energy and chatter. We brushed teeth, read stories in Elijah's dinosaur-decorated room, and tucked both kids in. Afterward, I sat on the couch, watching the baby monitor Rachel had left and scrolling through my phone. Suddenly, I heard the back door creak open. My heart jumped, but at first I thought maybe the wind had nudged it where Elijah had gotten up quietly. "Elijah," I called softly, but the living room was empty. Then he appeared behind me, his voice low and nervous. I just opened the door a little. I let the man in. My stomach flipped. "What man?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. He whispered, "The man by the trees." I told Elijah there was no one outside and moved quickly to shut and lock the back door. The porch light flicked on, illuminating the yard, but no one was visible. I crouched down next to Elijah and gently pressed him for details. He said the man knocked on the window, asking to come in, and described him as very tall. A cold chill snaked down my spine. I searched the house thoroughly, doors, closets, every shadow, but found nothing. Yet the sense of being watched grew stronger. I took Sophie into Elijah's room, locked the door, and kept my phone in hand. I called 911 and explained the situation. The dispatcher stayed on the line as heavy footsteps approached the upstairs landing. The bedroom door's knob rattled, then stopped. I whispered to Elijah to stay quiet and close to Sophie. Minutes later, there was a knock on the front door. Police had arrived. When officers entered, the intruder was nowhere in sight, but found footprints and signs of forced entry through the back door. The parents returned crying and apologized repeatedly. Marcus immediately set up security cameras. Though I babysat one more time during the day months later, I never stayed overnight again. Elijah has never mentioned the night again, but I still hear his calm, matter-of-fact voice. I let the man in. The fear of that silent presence, lurking just outside the window, has never left me. I was 17, still in high school, and like most girls my age in a small Midwestern town, babysitting was my way to make some extra cash. Calm and responsible, parents trusted me, and I liked the steady routine it gave me. But one babysitting job stuck out, not because of the kids or the pay, but because of something that unsettled me deeply. It happened on a Friday evening in Pine Hollow, a quiet cluster of neighborhoods surrounded by cornfields and friendly faces. Denise Harper, my mom's co-worker, had asked if I could watch her 2 kids, Cameron and Lily, ages 7 and 8. I'd babysat for them before, and the kids were sweet and obedient. Her house was at the end of a cul-de-sac, peaceful and safe, or so I thought. When I arrived around 5:15 p.m., Denise was upstairs, and her husband, Greg, was pacing nervously near the front door. They looked tired but thankful. Denise gave me a quick rundown of emergency contacts and house rules, then left with a final reminder: call if anything weird happens. The evening started smoothly. Pizza for dinner, a movie, and the kids tucked into their themed bedrooms. I called my best friend, Paige, and talked about school gossip while sitting in the quiet living room. Then, about 15 minutes into our call, I heard a strange, scraping noise outside. Curious, I peeked through the vertical blinds facing the backyard. There, just outside the glass door, stood a man, leaning, watching silently. My heart pounded. I whispered to Paige, "There's someone in the backyard." Suddenly, the sound of breaking glass shattered the stillness. Without hesitation, I ended the call and rushed upstairs to retrieve the kids. I flicked on Lily's bedroom light and urged her to get up quickly, then did the same with Cameron. Gripping their hands, I led them to the master bedroom, the only upstairs room with a lock. I secured the door and called 911 on the cordless phone. The dispatcher stayed on the line, offering calm and reassurance. Below us, I heard slow, deliberate footsteps, the clatter of objects being moved, and the unmistakable crash of a lamp hitting the floor. Whoever was inside wasn't in a rush. They acted as if the house was empty. Minutes dragged on until the officers arrived and called out, announcing their presence. Relief flooded me when the deputy reassured us we'd be safe. The man was found inside the dining room, stuffing silverware and watches into a backpack beside a crowbar and a broken window. He was a known burglar out on bail. Though unarmed, the threat was very real. Denise and Greg arrived soon after, overwhelmed with guilt and gratitude. They hugged their children tightly, apologizing over and over. Back at home later that night, shaken and exhausted, I locked my door and lay in bed with a baseball bat by my side. The image of that silent figure outside the glass door haunted me. Though time eased the fear, I never babysat overnight again without strict precautions. Always for families I trusted, always with my phone close. That night taught me how fragile safety can be and how quickly the ordinary can tip into danger. Sometimes the scariest thing isn't imagination. It's the presence of a stranger, silently waiting right outside the window. By the time I was 19, I had picked up babysitting again, hoping to earn some extra cash. I wasn't supposed to be babysitting that weekend. It was a last-minute arrangement when my older sister had. Each babysitting tale reveals how quickly, if this collection of babysitting stories captured your attention and left you thinking. Please consider subscribing for more share experiences. Like and share this content with others who might find these true accounts both eye-opening and meaningful. Trusting your